Handmade versus machine made. What wins for you?
There's no point to.
The most unusual request you have ever received for a custom light.
We're both very successful, at least you.
If you could change one thing about the lighting industry, what would it be?
Oh, not to copy, of course.
If you had to design a light for a Bollywood movie.
Oh my God.
Hello everyone, it's my pleasure to invite a very special guest today who is specially from Prague, Czech, to be part of this journey with CJ Season 2. So let's welcome Martin Cab from Sanssouci, a leading luxury lighting company. So Martin, welcome to India. Namaste.
Namaste.
How are
Thank you
you?
for having me. Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I
Thank
know-
you for having me once again.
Great. And I know you had a kind of a jet lag right now, so thanks for making it a short time. But I am sure whatever we do today in discussion is going to be a great insight for the people, the audience who's going to watch, and I'm sure we can inspire them from your story.
Great.
So-
I have my coffee. So
Yeah,
jet
of
lag is
course.
gone.
Yeah, that's always there. So Martin, to start, what inspired you to start Sanssouci Lighting? Maybe if you can tell us about your school and college and then how it started.
Okay. Well, I think it's very simple and straightforward. I come from Czech Republic, a region called Bohemia, which I don't know if people know, but I'll introduce. It's one of the two oldest region for glass making and crystal making in the world. So you have a Bohemian region and then the Venetian region called Murano. So for me, it was very simple. My dad was in the business of or related business to a luxury glass making, and so I don't remember when it was exactly, but I visited with him once the glass ovens and the hand making of glass and crystal. And I fall in love with it. So it was very simple, and then ever since the journey started, and somehow it got interconnected in my undergrad and majorly postgrad study in Australia. And that's where I get to know or start to interact with designers and project, private, as well as luxury, hospitality, 5-star hotels, and so on and so on. And that's how I got more into it. So my initial business education is actually driven towards international business and marketing, but then it got interconnected with the glass making, and that's how Sanssouci got born.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And in raw language, can you please explain the audience what is glass making or hand blown or handmade or Bohemian glass, just to educate the
Okay.
audience?
Well, glass, first of all, glass, it's really fantastic material because it is a natural material, which has a great property that you can actually look through it, right? So it works with light. That is one really important factor which fascinates me until today. And so glass and crystal. Glass is basically natural material. Crystal is also natural, but it's get enhanced by certain agents. It can be PBO, it can be some other agents, and they are added to the glass while it's being made. Okay, and that gives to the crystal certain properties. So it's easier to cut it. It has a better crisp in terms of light traveling through the glass, and so on and so on. Bohemian glass, Bohemian crystal, it's as I mentioned previously, one of the two oldest glass regions in the world. So a lot of history. There has been chandelier making in Bohemian region since, I don't know, 15th, 16th century, and it goes all the way today. It changed. It used to be a very traditional chandelier making. Now it's more contemporary / traditional, or very, very contemporary. But the region is really fascinating. It's very hilly. It's very, natural. The Crystal Valley, which got branded as a Bohemian region, It's been quite promoted, so a lot of people can look at it. And I, would suggest that anybody interested in glass should come because it's so beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, can you walk us through a process of making a bespoke component? Just a brief for the audience.
So, so I think for the audience, there are two major categories. The lighting companies either do product or they do project, right? We start to walk the path of projects. So, as you mentioned, bespoke project typically starts with interaction to designer or architect or end client, and the dialogue can take any direction. Really, the client or the designer is the storyteller who is trying to portray us what he would like to achieve, and we are here to listen, understand, and then realize his story, dreams, whatever you call it, right? And so we have a very strong in-house team of designers in the company, which basically specialize in making these dreams, reality. So we basically it's always like an orchestra, right? So you have project managers, you have interior designers, you have engineers who are taking part of the technicality in terms of metal and how the glass will hold together, and then they all working together, making sure that the whole process happens. Then once the specification is done, we start production. Then we very proud of the fact that we completing the job A to Z. That means we then sending our team of installers to the site, and the goods are shipped to the site, and we installing at the site. We also have packages for maintenance. It's very important. A lot of people has been neglecting that in the past, and I think backfire on them. So I strongly recommend to also have the post maintenance package with us or with anybody else. It doesn't have to be us. We're not pushing the client to do so. But since we have been the original producers, then obviously we know the most about the installation. So yeah, that's the story.
Okay, nice. So this tradition is passed through generations. So we need to understand that the young generation is also trying to take this, passion or tradition.
Yeah.
And is this a challenge for you because of the world which is, going into the tech and now the AI and other things? How are you addressing this?
Okay.
Is this a challenge? First question. Or if this is a challenge, then how are you addressing it?
Okay. Well, I can look at it from different angles, but I think one of them definitely is that the trends are changing, and what we are trying to do in Czech Republic, in Bohemia, is that there is still number of schools which are related to the craft and the design itself, and there's been big drop. But recently, you see that people are coming back to craft, people are coming back to hand making, and so on and so on. So I think that's really healthy. You're getting balance, right? I think not everybody can work in tech. Not everybody has the skills and the talent to do it. And I think that's very important. And I think as Europe is kind of the very traditional place for design and craftsmanship, I think it should stay there, and it should be somehow supported by the government, it should be supported by the programs. And it is, in a way, the local municipalities, they're doing a lot of work in order to sustain the schools. So it's happening, and I think it's really important because you need to have things which you're proud of, right? You need to know what's your origin. You need to know where you're coming from, and if you say Czech Republic in the world, the usual things come up, right? It's either beer or it's glass. Sometimes it's good girls, beautiful girls, and most of the time it's all connected to a craftsmanship and skills and so on and so on. It's really, really important that hopefully the generation after us will cherish this, and will keep on going. And in my private view, obviously I have two small sons, which they I don't know if they're gonna follow the same path as I do. I definitely want them to do whatever they're gonna be happy with. And if that will have any linkage with Sanssouci and my company, then great. If not, then that's life, right?
Right. Very well said. And I think you clearly demarked about the tourist attraction of Czech. So how are you balancing this traditional craftsmanship with modern technology? Which is not a very easy thing, I would say.
It is not, and actually that's kind of our recipe, and that's what I'm trying to explain and manifest to my clients worldwide. I strongly believe that if you want to be excellent in something, if you want to be great in something, you need to keep on trying, you need to keep on pushing, you need to keep on doing new things, right? So we have the craftsmanship at our doorstep, but that's not enough, right? And of course, there are different levels of craftsmanship as well. But I think what we've made successful in our company in Sanssouci was that we started exactly what you ask. We started to mix the traditional techniques and maybe revamp or make them back to life because they died with certain old school design or technique which was there, and we took it back, we look at it, we added ingredients, super important ingredients as design, and then we put another one, which is the technology. Many of them, one which I'm super proud of, and that's nano-coating PVD technology, which we have been associated with now for more than 10 years, and we've done a huge progress in that field. Made a really strong portfolio, and also got a lot of new technologies which are associated with this because of our relationship with universities, but I think majorly because of the passion. There's a passion to drive things forward. So it's not just that you're adding something. When you're making your dish, you're adding these ingredients, right? But when you're doing it with passion, when the chef does it, when you're talking to two-star Michelin restaurant chef, it's exactly the same. It's driven by passion. And that's, I think, what it needs to happen in order to have great results, and that's the ultimate ingredient.
Right. I think passion is the key.
Yeah,
I believe
I agree.
without that, it's not possible to continue your
Yeah.
work. And we all need that passion or inspiration. That's why this journey we're talking about. So now I think you very well explained about your products, the Bohemian glass and other things. Let's talk about the projects.
Mhm.
Can you tell us about your projects? What kind of projects have you done? And some challenging or innovative project you like to share with us?
Well, there are many. We're very fortunate to start. We have quite a broad portfolio of our installations, residential. Then we something what I call semi-bespoke, which can obviously cater for both for residential and for hospitality, and then the full bespoke, which are normally driven by the hospitality, but they can be also for the residential. So typically, it's resi and the hospitality. Recently, we've done a project which are out of these two groups, more of a public area. So we finished beautiful project for the Oriental Express, which is very famous name, and we were so lucky and so fortunate that we took part in this journey and this project. Very demanding one, but beautiful. In terms of hotels, it's really hard to pick one because we've done basically across the board almost everything, from Ritz-Carlton to Peninsulas to Shangri-Las and Hiltons and Conrads and so on and so Sofitels. But what I really enjoy is always, the creative process behind this, and how it comes to life. I'm not really, even though I'm the owner and CEO, I'm not so commercial person. I really enjoy the creative process. So that's something which really, after all these years, still drives me and fascinates me. And so out of all the projects, we've done beautiful job last year in 5 lakhs in Dubai, which was really challenging but beautiful. The owner had a really clear vision, and then we were very fortunate that we spot on the design, and then we kind of decided to start the collaboration on this project, and it turned out beautifully. It's one of the locations in Dubai. Mandarin Oriental, that's another beautiful project which we installing this year as well in Dubai. But there are many. I'm really looking forward a large ongoing project, which I can talk about now because it's already happening. That's with Emirates Airlines. We very proud partner of Emirates Airlines, and we're doing the renovation of all the lounges, business class and first class. So very interesting project. Um, uh, and yeah, the many really. This just pop out of my mind.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank
I
you.
was not aware of some of them, but Emirates and others are quite interesting to know. So let's talk about the most favorite topic of the world,
Okay.
uh, which is China.
Uh-huh.
So, if you talk about Europe, if you talk about US, of course, China is always the center point. So, if I ask you that the Czech glassmaking craftsmen compared to China mass production,
Mm.
how do you address that? Also, if you would like to cover the handmade Czech glassmaking with the Chinese lighting
Yeah.
also. So,
Okay.
just to educate the audience, because this question is always addressed in our country, especially when we talk about India chapter in this. So how do you like to explain this?
Okay. There are many angles, some from my view positive, some very negative. I mean, one of the very obvious one is that, and it's not the only one, so I'm just gonna address, one by one, but the one which we not seeing, you know, pleasantly is that we're being copied left and right. That means we've done something right, and other companies trying to achieve our design, but and it's happening across the globe, and and it's really frustrating in a way because you see your original design being done and actually exhibited by companies which we never heard of. They are not our partners, and they claiming these designs are theirs. So that's the bad side. That's something which obviously, which I, ethically, completely reject, and it's something which is part of China. But it's not all that bad. I mean, I travel to China all the time. I go there because I love the country, beautiful culture, big history, and so on and so on. And they can do certain things well. There's no question about it. There's, iPhone is produced in China and so on. In our industry, I think what China is good at is that if they get something, kind of designed and done, then they can replicate it. But that's not really my industry. We are in the business where we want to listen and tell the stories, by our product, by our installations. We're talking so much about, the story behind. And to be honest, I do a little sidetrack, but very important. We were very fortunate to become a global partner of HBA. HBA is the biggest hospitality design, interior design company in the world. And at the fall of last year, we signed a global agreement where we have a strategic collaboration. That means this HBA is going to design product for us, which is great because I mean, there's so much knowledge, there's so much story behind, there is so much of experience and know-how, which is great, and so that is something which is helping us in terms of building our brand, learning a lot of new things and so on. And the team is great, and I learned there how much. And I mean, I always knew the story behind it's important, the story behind the product, the emotions, and everything else. But once I start to talk to these guys, I realized that there's another level to it, and this is something what these guys missing completely.
Right.
So if I'll take them, oh guys, can you make 100 of these mugs? They gladly make them, right? But the beauty is the mug and the original design of this thing, how it has been created, was the proportion and so on and so on. And that's what in many cases they do wrong. The success is in the detail, in the right proportion, in the right detailing and everything else, and then that's most of the time missed by these guys when they're entering the same job or when trying to somehow help ruin the project and so on and so on. So yeah, but that's what comes to my mind first when we talk in China, and kind of my competition, but not really my competition.
Yeah, but if you talk about the quality of the
Again,
handmade
okay,
and towards the machine made,
okay,
like,
okay. I think probably the best example or the best explanation is if somebody has been making the glass from the 15th century until today, okay, he learned, he skilled, he got some level of precision. If somebody is doing that maybe 50 years, 60, 70 years, 100 years, then that tells a story, right? I mean, the craftsmanship, the know-how which has been inherited from generation to generation, the improvement, that the crisp of the silica and the glass which is made in Czech Republic versus what is made in China. There's just a huge difference.
can you
That's
explain more about this?
absolutely, of course. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I mean. I've came across so many copies of, for example, one of our very famous collection called Airy, right? And I can give you a scaling where we are. This is the original, and then I see the copies, and they some of them they made a progress. So some of them maybe 6 or 7, but in terms of maybe the craftsmanship, but not in terms of the crystal of the glass. So there's a lot of things. If you're buying a bag from Louis Vuitton, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what you're buying. You're buying quality, you're buying great craftsmanship, you're buying the best design, and so on and so on. Of course, the story behind, and so on and so on. There's thousands copies of Louis Vuitton bags, right? But
Yeah.
there's only one which is original, right?
Right.
And that's what you want. Yes, you can find on the market copy which will be maybe 70, 60%, but many are 40, 30, and whatever. And the same with glass. The purest and the crispiest silica crystal glass, it's in Bohemia, full stop. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
So the crisp of the glass, the clarity, the purity, how light can travel through the glass, and what it does, the reflection. That is what makes the glass very, very unique. Then, if you're adding on these generations and generations of craftsmanship and of mastering the craft, that puts together a very unique proposition.
Right.
Whereas somebody who is doing it 50, 60 years and trying to do it in big scale and so on and so on, it's just missing it.
Yeah.
That's just two different things. Completely different things. So yeah.
So if I tell you about my experience
Sure.
of selling lighting, European lighting, there's a lot of difference in quality. Like, we always address this issue with clients. And when we install a beautiful Sanssouci product or it is big difference, big. The finishing of the glass, the finishing of the color. I know Sanssouci infuse the color in the glass, which can never go away. If you
Yeah.
talk about Chinese, this will go away in 6, 7 months. So of course, it's a part of education which we need to do to the client. But the end result, there is a phenomenal difference
Yeah.
when the installation is done, and you can get to know that okay, there is a difference.
Yes, and and also it's the craftsmanship, is the material, but it's also the design, how you group, how you lay the individual components, how you structure them in the final piece. So there is a proportion, there's a flair to it, there's a movement, if you want. There are different layers and the textures which create the whole final look of the sculpture. This is really important as well. I came across a lot of clients where they were big commercial projects, right? And they were telling me, Martin, we would love to work with you, but your prices are not 30%, 60% more expensive than the Chinese. And guess what? In about 80 or 90%, I still got the job, because it's not just about the price. I mean, the gap in the price can be different, but obviously we're going to be always more expensive, sometimes more, sometimes less. But it's not just that. It's the project itself. It's a very, very complex things. Issue of many small details. And when we went through this specific project, and I can name many, in India, for example, I was very fortunate to work with Panchil Group and Mr. Ravi for the Ritz-Carlton Pune. Beautiful project, which has been designed by Thai designer, very famous one. And we've got into the specification. We were the last two basically to fight for the job, and I was losing in the beginning, right? Because my price was double. Then we came up about 60% more expensive than them, well, 30, 50, I don't know, I can't remember exactly, but we are very, very far away in terms of price. But what convinced the client was the overall care, the overall package, the overall, attention to detail, the understanding what we're gonna make. It's no joke when you're making 8-meter chandeliers. So many things can go wrong, and that's what you need to understand. That when you're making 8-meter chandelier, it's a very complex and sophisticated thing. It's not just a Lego component when you're putting things together and you think that the final impact is going to be the same. It's far away.
Completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Doing a big installation is not an easy job, and we address these issues every day. And I think if you do it correctly from the starting, then only you can achieve the result. Otherwise, it's not possible to achieve.
Yep, I believe so.
But anyways, let's talk about India. Now you're in India, so we should talk about India. And so how do you see the Indian market for luxury lighting now?
Yeah, it's growing, and there is a lot of potential. It's I mean, I'm in India almost every year, at least once, if possible, then more times. But and I've been coming for many years, and I see the importance of the fairs, the importance of strong partners, and trusted partners, and I see how the market develops. Again, I was talking to the HBA, the commercial director, and he mentioned to me how big growth India is enjoying in terms of the amount of work they actually do for India. And HBA is one of the most expensive design offices in the world, meaning India is doing something right. If they can hire more and more these premium designers, that's great. And I can see I can see the shift from very traditional to now more contemporary. I can see the shift towards really strong and good design, and it doesn't have to be outside of India. You have plenty of really great designers in India themselves. So great work has been done here, and I think we're looking forward, and hopefully we're going to be fortunate to work on more projects like this, because there's a lot. Yes, very important market for us.
Yes, for sure. So when you talk about Indian designers and architects, and I am sure they're doing exceedingly well now. So is there any kind of collaboration we're looking at with Indian designers and architects with Sanssouci?
Yeah, I mean, we open, and to be honest, again, we've started projects, and we were doing just projects, and they're full custom made or semi-custom made. Then we stepped into the territory of product, which we started to launch about 2 or 3 years ago. And it's a completely different style of business, to be honest. And thanks to product, I've got to know many world famous designers. And for me, it really is not important if the designer sits in Italy or in Japan or in States or in India. It's really important how they click with what we as a Sanssouci represent, what we do, if we like the designs, and if we like this person work, and it can come from anywhere. And I've seen some beautiful work here in India done by Indian designers. So yeah, why not? Yeah.
So great news for Indian architects and designers. Anybody who's interested, please DM us, and I'm sure I'll get you connected to Martin. And you never know, we can have a great collection next year with Indian architect or designer. Why not? So superb news, I would say.
I'm looking forward to it.
Right. So what would be your advice to interior designer or architect when they're choosing lighting solutions?
Okay. Wow. That's okay. Well, we already touched very important topic. I think it's for any architect or designer, it's important to work with quality products, because if he doesn't, and it can backfire on him. B, I think it's very important to work with companies which can fulfill the brief of the design and project. So if it's a product, then it's product. When they need something more creative and bespoke, then they should look for trusted partners. And it doesn't have to be Sanssouci; it can be any company. Obviously, we're here, and I think we've been doing it for a pretty long time, and we're still learning, and it's there. But we're very passionate about what we're doing. So lighting. I think out of all the aspects of interior design, it's super important because, as I mentioned before, lighting has the beauty working with the light, and glass works with the light, and so on and so on. Super interesting and fun material, and it can have many different forms. So yeah, quality product, and depending on the style of the project, looking for the right partners, for the right suppliers.
Also, I think to add with what you're saying, with my experience, there's a big trend change happening. People are very happy with standard collections, which are basically coming from the catalogs. But also now the clients or architects, they're looking for something which is completely bespoke. They don't want a design from the catalog. They want a very interesting design, which is specially curated for them. We are extensively working on those projects now, and we have got great success installations, and we've got repeat orders from clients because of that.
Great.
So I personally feel that with this bespoke customization will be a very big key in future, and especially for Indian designers who want something which is completely out of the box or not a standard regular chandelier, because generally you don't enjoy going home and seeing the same chandelier. You want to see something different.
I agree.
I go to my friend's house and see the same chandelier installed. I don't want to name those companies, but for me it's okay. But if I see something interesting, I would say wow. So that's a big trend change coming in our market, and I'm really working towards that direction.
It's great. I mean, once the designer or architect has the possibility to work with somebody who understands the brief, the story, the concept, and it can address it not with standard product, but it can go out of these mantinels and it can step away to a completely different space of customization. Obviously, that's for and that's why we've been things got successful, because that's how we started the company. We've basically worked on purely on specification through designers and architects, and that's how we learned. That's how we got a lot of know-how. That's how we became confident that we can also do products, because in the meantime, we bought a lot of interesting technologies, a lot of machinery, which can work on projects, but also on product, and that gives us the freedom now to go beyond that and explore even more. But we learned that all through the custom-made projects, which is really key, and that's still and will be the most fun we enjoy.
So never miss sales. So I'm getting a chance to do sales. So anyone, any designer or architect who wants to do something out of the box or wants to do something really creative, we are here. Please approach us, and we will sure do a good job.
Sure. So I think it's great. I think it's always fascinating, and it doesn't. It's across the board. The designers who work on projects where every single piece of furniture or lighting or accessories has to be customized. It's just so much fun. It's demanding, it's challenging as well, because the timeline, the client, the changes, and everything is bespoke. You're starting with every development from the scratch, but it's just so much fun, and you learn from it as well, which is great, because that gives you the extra mile, the extra know-how, which you can then use for some future projects.
Great, Martin. So let's get some easy things going on now.
All right.
So we have this rapid fire in this session. I'm going to ask you some questions, and you have to answer to them fast.
Sure.
So okay. So can I start?
Sure.
Great. One design rule you always follow.
William Savaya.
Favorite city in the world for design inspiration?
London.
A designer or architect you would love to collaborate with?
Are there many? There are many. Probably. Oh my God. Yeah, I'll say the name, which is impossible to do because unfortunately she passed away, Zaha Hadid. But yeah,
Somebody you want to work and is there?
is there?
Yeah.
Oh, as I said, there's so many.
Pick one. Pick one.
Okay, Philip Stark, for example.
One word to describe Sanssouci.
Well, one word: passion.
Key rule of success.
Well, probably it's a little bit the same answer: passion, resistance. Yeah, passion.
A future trend that excites you in lighting.
Again, there are many. AI, for example.
Handmade versus machine made. What wins for you?
There's no point to answer. Of course, handmade.
The most unusual request you have ever received for a custom light.
Well, it's again many. Yeah, we've done some crazy thing because we always fulfill the wishes of our clients. I think it was like a botanical garden chandelier. Yeah, very
Wow.
crazy one. Yeah.
So, if you had to design a light for a Bollywood movie, what would it like? Have you ever seen Bollywood movies?
Of course.
Oh,
They always make me smile in a nice way. You know,
Okay.
they always create a smile on my face because they're so, full of energy and full of life. So it would be something in this way, something really, full of energy, full of emotions, and full of movement, colors, and everything else. Yeah. So that's what I see when you're talking to me about the Bollywood movie.
I'm going to make sure you see a Bollywood movie tonight. So, customization or ready-made?
Of course,
Client preference.
Client preference, still customization.
Customization.
Much more fun.
Yeah, agreed. If you could change one thing about the lighting industry, what would it be?
Oh, not to copy, of course.
That's a good one. We all hate copies. So I hate copies. I don't like to sell any kind of copy, but that's the market at times you have to face. But
Then there are other ones which are more practical. You have different lighting standards, which they just protect each market and more economy, but they're making us a lot of headache and a lot of red tape, unnecessary one. Because at the end of the day, we care about our clients, designers, and the clients, and we want to make sure that they are happy. And if they are unnecessary constraints in a way which are just bureaucratic, it just doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so this question has been asked with other designers and architects also. If you're doing an event, then what would you be doing in that event? Are you going to enjoy being the bartender or a MC or a chef or
Okay.
a singer? What is your
Passion?
interest for that event or a party?
It will be probably 30-30-30 in the sequence of DJ, chef, and bartender.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna manage time.
That I love these three. I mean, I love
DJing.
Yeah, I love
bartender.
DJing. Yeah, I love music. Yeah, and again, I think it's super connected with design and with passion and with creating new things. Music is so important. I always get so inspired when I go to a live concert, and it can be anything. It can be classical music, can be DJ, it can be a big band. Doesn't really matter. But it's just creates a lot of passion. And I love food, so if I have time, I try to do a little bit of cooking, and I love good drink. So if there's a right event, right opportunity, right time, then I don't mind to do
And
good
some
drink.
Bollywood songs request will
For
get
sure.
as a
That's
DJ.
compulsory.
So Martin, thank you very much. I think we had a great session today, and I'm sure this is going to educate a lot of audience, and I'm sure they're inspired with your journey. And anything you like to share or talk as a last thing?
I think we covered quite a lot. I mean, I don't want this to sound as a cliche, but I go to many countries in the world. India is definitely one of my favorite, and it's thanks to people like you, and like people which live in India. It's always exciting. And yeah, I mean, I probably say that if this is for the young designers and architects, then I think they should follow their heart. They should go after their dreams. because that's what we did, and we both very successful.
Yes.
At least you, and I think it's very important to go after your dreams, and follow your heart, and do something which you enjoy, and which makes you happy.
I agree completely. Follow your passion.
Yes.
Is the key to
Yes. Yes.
success in
Yeah.
life. So, Martin, thank you again very
You're welcome.
much for especially flying down and being part of this journey with CJ season 2. And I hope to do some more rapid fires with you in future.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you
Thank
very
you for your
much,
time.
Martin.
Thank you.